Yum! Who does not like brownies, right? They're so good, and I've got a recipe for you that are fudgy, they are rich, they are chocolate pumpkin seed brownies. So they're perfect for this time of year, and they're a little better for you because they're made with applesauce instead a lot of butter or something like that. So you can see my ingredients right here. So just a little more than a handful of ingredients are going to make your brownies. So let's talk about how we're going to make them, and we're going to put them in the pan and pop them in the oven. And then I've got some I've already made. So here we go. So we're going to start off with some whole wheat pastry flour, and we're going to put it into a bigger bowl. So my dry ingredients: whole wheat pastry flour, some unsweetened cocoa powder, and some raw sugar. Now, this may look like a lot of raw sugar, but people, this makes 25 brownies. So that's not a lot of sugar for each delicious, yummy bite. And then last but not least, I'm gonna put in some chopped toasted pumpkin seeds. Toasted them in a 400-degree oven for just about 3 or 4 minutes, and they got a little bit brown, and of course that roasty, toasty flavor always makes everything taste better. Next up, we're gonna do our wet ingredients, and we have 3. First off, I'm gonna put in some unsweetened applesauce right into my bowl. And next comes a whole egg, so 1 whole egg. And then last but not least, I've got some vanilla. So there we go. Those are all gonna go into that bowl. I'm gonna set this aside, and I'm gonna stir up our dry ingredients first. And you can see I'm using my flat roux whisk here. I love this whisk for things like this, and it will really move everything around together. The addition of the pumpkin seeds is awesome. Have anybody in your family or friends that are allergic to nuts? The pumpkin seeds are a great substitute for any kind of nuts. And because they're small and I chop them up a little bit too, they're just gonna add kind of a pleasing crunch to the brownie. And while I'm doing that, I just wanna talk to you real quickly. I'm using whole wheat pastry flour. Y'all see that? You can tell that I got this at Whole Foods, and it was not expensive. It was about $2.69 for this bag. And the reason we love using whole wheat pastry flour instead of all-purpose flour is the whole wheat does give us a little bit of, a little more nutrition, a little bit more fiber, and the whole wheat pastry flour, because you gotta buy the pastry flour, is milled so finely you can use it 1-for-1 for all-purpose flour. So I wanted to show you that. All right, so now I've got the dry ingredients all whisked together. Now I'm gonna whisk together the wet ingredients, and I don't even have to use my whisk for it. I can just use a little spatula. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my wet ingredients, my 3 wet ingredients in there, and I'm gonna put them right into my dry ingredients. And I'm gonna scrape out this bowl because I need all the moisture out of these ingredients that I can get. So here we go. I'll set that aside. And now I'm just going to stir up my brownie batter. Isn't that easy? Can you believe 7 ingredients are gonna make a little tiny fudgy, yummy bite of delight? Can you tell I like these brownies? I do, because they're better for us, and you can have 1 small bite and the texture just tastes kind of like fudge, and it'll really hit your sweet tooth. And you know, that's what we want to do. We want to enjoy things, but we don't want to enjoy too much. All right, so now I've got my batter all mixed together. I'm gonna grab a 8x8 square baking pan that I have used some grapeseed oil spray and put in a liner of parchment paper, and you desperately want to do that, trust me, because these are icky, sticky brownies. It's a very thick batter, so you're literally gonna scrape it in to your pan. And so once I get most of this out, then I'm gonna grab my spatula again so I can get all the goodness out of my bowl. Here we go. And now I'm gonna take my spatula and just get all the rest of the batter out. And then I'm gonna show you how to move this batter around your pan without losing your parchment on the bottom. Because it's such a sticky dough, it's gonna really try to move that parchment. So what I do is I put my thumb in the very side of that parchment so that it does not move around, so that I get all my batter covered really well in the bottom of the pan. And then once I get it almost all moved around so it covers the entire pan, and I'm gonna try to get it kind of even on the top, but you can see how thick this batter is. And you can tell by the way I'm moving it around with my spatula. Now, the last thing I'm gonna do is kind of wrap it on my counter so if it has any air bubbles or I didn't quite mash it down far enough, it kind of will ooze out. I've got a 350-degree oven preheated. I'm gonna pop this in my 350-degree oven on the middle shelf, and it's gonna be done in about 20 to 25 minutes. In my oven, it's done about 20 minutes. So I want you to time it for 18 minutes and then check it out. So I'm gonna put this in the oven in just a second, but what I wanna show you now is what I did earlier, and that was make a pan of these brownies. So let me just tell you, these brownies are so easy to make, and they are so delicious, and they are super easy to double or triple even the recipe if you've got 3 8x8 square pans. So here are the brownies. Look, don't those look delicious? I divide them into little teeny bites, about 25 in that 8x8 pan, and you can see they're thin, but they're thick and fudgy. They got that little crunch from the pumpkin seeds. Oh my gosh, y'all, these are so fun to make and to eat. So I'm gonna try it. Wish you were here to share. All I need is a cup of coffee now. Anyway, I hope you enjoy making these brownies. I hope you have a wonderful fall season. And until the next Cancer Wellness videos, I'll see you. Happy fall.